Okay, guys, the recording has started, so I'll begin this session now. So, good evening, everyone. I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome you all to the second episode of our exciting series, Voices of Power Women Shaping Tomorrow. So, we basically launched this series to bring inspiring stories and important conversations to light, basically focused on the incredible contributions women are making across various fields. It's all about exploring the challenges women face and how they are turning those obstacles into opportunities for change and empowerment. In our very first episode, if you might have seen, we discussed legal rights for women with the brilliant lawyer Rama Saror, who shared invaluable insights into how women can protect their rights, especially in workplaces and personal spaces. It was definitely an eye-opening session that sparked great conversations and left us all more informed and empowered. Now, introducing about today's session. Now, we are moving into a very different but equally inspiring space, the world of sports. This second episode titled as Devika Malik From Challenges to Championships, Inspiring a New Era. Now, here we'll dive into the incredible journey of our female athletes, especially focusing on overcoming barriers, breaking stereotypes, and making space for inclusion. And who better to lead this conversation than our amazing guest speaker, Devika Malik? Now, she is a national record holding para athlete with international medals to her name, and a journey of resilience and success will no doubt inspire us all. Now, it's my honor to introduce our esteemed guest for today's session, Devika Malik, ma'am, an extraordinary individual who has truly transformed adversity into opportunity. Ma'am was actually born with hemiplegia, which basically affects one side of her body, but that didn't stop her from rising to become one of India's most accomplished para-athlete. She is national record holder in para-athletics for the 100 and 200-meter races in the women T37 category. Over the course of her inspiring athletic career, ma'am has won around 8 national and 3 international medals, showcasing her remarkable talent and determination at World Para Athletics Grand Prix events. Beyond the track, Devika ma'am is an inspiring advocate for inclusivity and equality. She co-founded the Wheeling Happiness Foundation, which has impacted the life of over 10,000 people by promoting inclusion, disability sports, and providing assistive devices to those in need. The foundation basically focuses on ability beyond disability, which basically means helping individuals become self-reliant and promoting emotional well-being. Her exceptional efforts have earned her a global recognition. She has been honored with the Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia title and has received prestigious awards like the Queen's Young Leader Award from Queen Elizabeth II at Buckingham Palace and the Women Transforming India Award from Honorable Vice President of India and the United Nations. Now, today, ma'am will be speaking basically on the topic from challenges to championship, inspiring a new era. She will share her personal journey, the hurdles she faced as an athlete, and the critical role that sports play in empowering women and people with disabilities. We are truly privileged to hear from her today, and we hope her story leaves each one of us inspired to break barriers and pursue our dreams, no matter the obstacles. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Devika Malik, ma'am.
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much for that extensive and wonderful introduction. Really happy to be here. So,
Thank you
uh,
so, thank you so
so
much, ma'am, for
what do
being
you want? How do you want to start? What would you like me to talk about?
basically Rahul. I would pass on the mic to you now.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. It's a great honor to have you here. We have read a lot about you, but to interact with you in the virtual mode is such a true honor for us. And even if guys have joined the meeting without knowing who we are, I believe the introduction given by Shreyans would be more than apt to know everything about you. But there's still some 20-30% left that we will get to know through the different questions that we are going to ask now. Myself, Rahul, and my co-host Kavya will be asking you a series of questions, of course, fun ones. And later on, we'll ask the audience if they are willing to ask any questions to you. Of course, I believe they have tons of questions to ask for all the uh, uh, all the achievements that you have done so far. So let me not delay it any further, and I'll pass on the mic to Kavya, my fellow host, who will be starting, and she'll ask the first question to you, ma'am. Kavya,
Thank you
please
so
take
much,
it.
Devika ma'am, for taking the time to join with us for the in between the festive seasons. As we celebrate Navratri, a festival honoring the strength and spirit of women, how has the celebration been for you? What personal significance does Navratri hold in your life?
So on the very first day of Navratri, the post that we made on the page of our foundation was pictures of 9 of our beneficiaries, women beneficiaries of our foundation, who we have supported through the years, and they have gone on to achieve wonderful things, whether it is graduating from college, whether it is attaining national or international medals in para sport, or whether it is getting hired as a teacher at a local school. So we celebrated that spirit of Shakti and that spirit of resilience that women, not just women, especially women with disabilities, have to overcome the challenges, not just the challenges of their own disabilities, but the challenges that society puts in their way by way of stereotyping us and by way of uh, bullying people with disabilities or undermining people with disabilities. So for me, that is the significance of Navratri, where we celebrate the true Shakti, I would say, the true power of resilience within the women of this country, I would say, especially because our culture is such that we live in this dichotomy where we pray to the feminine as the goddess on the one hand, and all the struggles that women face in society, all the social barriers that you would have heard about in your previous session as well. So yes, that is the significance of Navratri for us. And of course, another thing I would say is that all of us have that spirit of Shakti within us. And feminine is not just for women, we all have feminine and masculine energies. And we all, in order to have a balanced life and balanced mental health, must be in touch with both of those aspects. So, yes, that is, if you ask me, what is the significance of this festival for me.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you for beautifully answering that question. The way you portrayed or way you explained how you celebrate Navratri is truly inspiring to listen to. Now let's talk about your journey in para sports. As a successful para athlete who has represented India, could you please share your journey in sports? I mean, like what initially drew you to athletics, and how did your experiences as a para athlete shape your perspective on sports in general? I mean, we already discussed about that. I mean, para sports is gaining reputation and engagement from audience, but could you please elaborate on that in general?
So my personal journey as a para athlete is very closely connected to my mother's journey as a para athlete, because as some of you may know, my mother is Dr. Deepa Malik, who is the first woman of India to ever win a medal at the Paralympics. That was in 2016 at the Rio Paralympics. And my mother is a wheelchair user. She is paralyzed below the chest level. So whenever she used to go for her training or her competitions, someone from the family would accompany her, and I accompanied her to a lot of her sports meets and competitions starting from 2006. And that's when I realized that there is potential for me in these sports as well. And 2010, taking that inspiration from her and getting introduced to the world of para sports because of my mother, I took that inspiration and I started competing in para athletics in 2010. I did face some struggles in my journey, mostly bureaucratic struggles. For multiple reasons, I could not. I made it to the Commonwealth team in 2014, but for multiple reasons, I could not actually represent India back then. So I competed till 2016, and then I took a step back from actively competing in sport and focused more of my energy on my NGO, which we established, the Wheeling Happiness Foundation, in 2014, because the purpose and the intent of the NGO is basically to empower people with disabilities, not how we want them to be empowered, rather how they want to be empowered. So we don't say that we will help you only if you do this activity or that activity, whether it's education, whether it's sports, whether it's even fashion. If a person with disability wants to pursue their dreams and they reach out to us, we do our best to support and enable them. So then, for the next 5 years, I focused purely on my foundation. And then in 2021, at the age of 31, I somehow decided that I want to give athletics another shot because I could not go to the Commonwealth Games in 2014. So it was like an unrealized dream to represent India at a large scale international event. Though I had been to the World Grand Prix meets earlier thrice in my career, but not that is not the same as an Asian Games or a Commonwealth Games or a Paralympics. So then, at the age of 31, I found an amazing coach in Mr. Amit Khanna in Delhi. Because when you train for speed events at an advanced age, usually they say in sports, especially in speed events, your peak age is around 27, 28. And after that, because of physiological reasons, you will see a decline in your speed. uh, but this coach took a chance on me and accepted the challenge to train me with my condition, which is cerebral palsy, with all the spasticity and the other issues that I face as a result of my disability and my age. I was 31 when I started training with him. But it all worked out really well. And then for the last stages of my training, I went to Nadiad Sports Academy, where I had Mr. Mansukh as my coach. And together, we made it to the Asian Games. And got to represent my country at the Asian Para Games last year. Not only did I get to represent my country at the Asian Para Games, at the age of 33, I set two national records. And so I am one of the oldest women who participated in track events from India at the Asian Para Games. And I am currently holding the national records, and the competitors closest to me who train from India, or even the competitors I had at the Asian Games, were all in their early 20s. So that's where you say that age is just a number. So that was also an interesting experience. So there's lots of things. There's gender, there's age, there's disability, uh, and then there's coming together of all of that. And I personally see all of these factors as an advantage in my life rather than a disadvantage. I'm very proud of the fact that I was one of the oldest athletes on the track. And being the oldest athlete on the track from India, in spite of that, I hold the national record. So for me, none of these things are hindrances. They are all factors that prove that, in spite of all of these labels, I have been able to prove myself and uh, bring medals for my country.
Thank you for turning the number 33 into the new 18, ma'am. Having a national record is in itself a great achievement, but doing it at that age, you've just changed our perspective on the age 33. I'm going to talk to my dad about this. He said he was done when he was 40. Maybe you should take a shot again.
It's
Yes.
truly magical, mom. Thank you for
True.
letting us through your mindset and preparation.
Yeah, I'll say another thing there. Even when you say about the age factor, I think that is again something which I have to give credit to my mother, because not only is she the first woman to win a medal at the Paralympics from India, till date she is also the oldest medalist. As in the age you were when you won a medal at the Paralympics, she is the oldest Paralympic medalist from the country, because she was 46 when she won her medal at the Paralympics. So that means she started her career only at the age of 36. So definitely, I think I have a very grand example right at home, which because of which I know that there are no excuses, and there is no reason why uh, you should not pursue your dream, or why you should not do things to give back to your community.
Amazing, ma'am. Amazing to know that. Thank you. Kavya, you can proceed with the next question to ma'am.
Yes, definitely. As we all have already covered about Paralympics, I'd like to take some question that is completely different. While searching about you, I got to know that you have an army background. That was truly magical for me because my dad also worked in the Indian Army. So, can you walk us through how that journey helped you shape? your resilience and discipline?
Absolutely. I think not just my father, my grandparents, both my father's father and my mother's father, both have been in the army. In fact, most of our my uncle is in the army, so we are completely an army family. And More than discipline, I would say one of the ways in which my father's being in the army and having a transferable job really helped me. Two things. One, sports and fitness is a very strong culture in our family, and I think having an army background is one major reason for that. My grandparents now, even at the age of 90, they do their yoga every day and they are fit as a fiddle. So that definitely comes from their army upbringing, and that has been passed on to us. And the second thing I would say is because my father was in a transferable job, I was changing schools every 2 years. So it gave me, it put me in an environment every 2 years which was new. So I was that awkward child in class who walked with a limp, who could not write very fast because I have hand eye coordination problems, I have balance problems, I don't have fine motor movements like tying laces or writing or typing. These things are very slow for me compared to an average person. So, as a 6 year old child or 8 year old child, every time I went to a new school, it was very odd for other children to see why is this person walking like this. And there was really nobody else in my class or my school or the peer group that I saw around me who had a similar condition. So it was something new for those children as well. And every time I had to face this, every time I had to face a new set of children and get over that barrier of awkwardness. I wouldn't call it bullying because that is also the responsibility of our environment. uh, if people don't see people with disabilities out and about in their environment on a regular basis, then obviously it feels something strange or weird when you see it for the first time. And especially as a small child, as a 6 year old child, when you see that, you see something different and you find it strange. And a child doesn't have all the faculties to react in a politically correct manner. But to me, obviously, that was it was hurtful, and I would cry, and I would feel bad, and I would go back home to my parents. And my parents at a very young age explained to me that this is going to happen again and again because every 2 years you're going to go to a new school. So do you want us to always speak for you, or do you want to speak for yourself? Stand up and speak for yourself. So at a very young age, I got this confidence that even though even I fully didn't understand how to explain to those children that this was a medical problem, but I did my best to explain it to my fellow students, to my teachers, that what I have is a medical problem and that's why I walk like this. And then you get over that awkwardness, you get over that barrier, you make friends all over again from scratch every 2 years. As you said, you are from an army background, so you would understand what I mean. And I think that really builds a certain strength of character, and it really helps you to face the world head on. And whether you want it or not, it really enhances your interpersonal skills. So in a way, that has played a very big role in shaping my personality, definitely.
Awesome, ma'am. You know, a lot of people say they lose their confidence, they become depressed, like when they're 18 or 20, like that. But in my perspective, all these happens when you're in school. These things become a trauma to you. But I'm so glad that you were able to break all those obstacles and become who you are today. Thank you so much for that, ma'am. I know we have been having a serious conversation so far. Let me just ask a non-serious question in the middle, just to add more fun to this interview. Let's talk about your, like how you balance your joy and competition. You know, like Navratri celebrates both joy and playfulness along with rituals. In your journey as a para athlete, how have you managed to maintain joy and playfulness despite the intense focus on competition and success? Did you have any specific hobby or any practices that you used to follow in between matches or during tournaments?
So, in my particular career of sports, like I said, I took a break in between as well. So, my particular career of sports has not only been intended towards competition. My particular, like my personal career in sports is also intended towards social work and community service. I do this because as I remain active in sports, I can also help other people to come forward in sports. So I think what helps me balance that out and what really brings me joy is that not only am I achieving success for myself, not only am I winning medals, I can see when I go for a national meet, I can see 10 other people there who have made it to that level because at some point my foundation has been able to assist them, maybe donated them a wheelchair, maybe counseled them about you know para sports being an option for them. If somebody has an amputation or somebody has an accident and gets a spinal cord injury, they reach out to us, now what can we do with our lives, and we counsel them that sports is an option for you. And then 3 years later I see that person coming and competing in the same national meet as me, or I have been able to, through our foundation, fund somebody's diet and nutrition. So that is how it really brings me joy. So I have never really seen my training or preparation as something too intense. I have always enjoyed it, and especially I would say the comeback that I made in 2021, that was purely a personal decision that I have this unfulfilled dream that I want to represent my country at Asian Games. And so I knew that I was doing this, like it was purely my decision. Nobody was forcing me, nobody was pushing me. In fact, people were supporting me. My parents were supporting me, my coaches were supporting me, and it was such a supportive environment for me. So I knew that I have to make the best of this opportunity. But I wouldn't say that stress doesn't come. Stress, obviously, when there is competition, there is stress. And you need that because it pushes you to practice more, to perform better. But how do you deal with that stress? I think you all are IIT students, and we hear so much nowadays about how even getting to this high level of education, the journey is quite stressful. So how do you manage that stress? When I was about 6 months away from my Asian Games, there were all these factors, right? I was older than most of my fellow athletes. I had come back after a long break. So these things do tend to play on your mind that will I actually be able to achieve what I have set out to achieve? And what I did at that point of time, the decision that I'm very glad that I made is that I took up the services of a sports psychologist. Even though my own education has been in the field of psychology, but just because you have studied something, especially when it comes to the human mind, that just because I have studied that in a textbook doesn't mean I can apply it to myself. Even a therapist needs therapy, as they say, that's the joke in the community. So I hired the services of a sports psychologist, and on the very first session, she told me to write down what is your target timing. Not I want to win a gold medal, or I want to win a bronze medal, or I want to it's your timing, because that's who you are racing against. You are racing against what you did the last time. The goal is to be better than yourself, better than what you were the last time you ran a race. And I said I want to run 200 meters in 35 seconds. That might sound like a lot, but when it comes to disability sport, of course, our standards are different, our qualification standards are different, because it's based on the disability and the functionality of the body. So, not even 6 months, I think 4 or 5 months before the championship, before the Asian Games, I told her I want to run 200 meters in 35 seconds. And at that point, when I wrote that down in my diary, I was running 200 meters in 39 seconds. And anybody, any of you who has any background in athletics or sports, especially short distance running, you would understand that saying that I want to reduce 4 seconds of my time in 5 months is a very big and unrealistic goal, actually. But because I, along with, of course, the diet, nutrition, coaching, all of those things, I worked with a mental trainer and I wrote that down in my diary. And the day I ran my race, my 200-meter race, I did not win a medal. I placed fourth at the Asian Games. But I stood there and I waited for my timing to come on the screen. And my timing was 35.07 seconds. And it was a new national record. So to an extent, even I couldn't believe that, okay, my therapist said just write it down. And I wrote it down. And then we forgot about it. And then we did other mental exercises and visualization and all of those things. But that day, when I finished the race, I went back and I opened that diary and I saw that I had written down 35 seconds. And that is where the true pride comes from. I mean, winning a medal is great, setting a world record is great, but you will see even greats like Sumit until we were talking about, or Neeraj Chopra, everyone talks about.
Yes.
Even when they win medals, sometimes you will see that they're not that excited or they're not that thrilled because they are not chasing those medals. They are chasing an improvement of their own performance. They are chasing an improvement of what they know they are capable of. And I think that's where the joy comes from.
Awesome, ma'am. Thank you for answering that question beautifully. And I'm pretty sure had I asked the question to the participants in this meeting, they would have simply said watching anime or playing video games. To you guys, this answer is a big reality check. And also, actually you mentioned one beautiful thing, ma'am, that you wrote down what you wanted to become, what you wanted to achieve. I just kindly insist all the participants here to realize the importance of that. See, the moment you
Also,
write
another
down what.
thing I want you to take away from this answer is mental health.
Yes.
Mental health and well-being is very, very important. I know you are engineering students and you feel like this is something everybody tells you to do on Instagram. Do self-care and take care of your mental health. But it's actually very important because whatever you do in terms of your coursework or whatever you achieve in terms of your academic achievements or otherwise, if your mental health is not robust and your physical health is not robust, at the end of the day, that's not of any use to anybody, right? Because even the people who are close to you, your parents, your friends, they don't want to see you suffering. And if you are suffering, if your mental well being is suffering, no success can compensate for that. Your success is truly success if you feel well in the body that you live in, and that can only happen if you are taking care of the. I told you a while back that my grandparents at 90 are doing yoga every day because their body moves like that, because their body allows them that mobility, their body allows them that stability, because they have taken care of their health. So yeah, please, from my side, that is a big takeaway for you guys.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Like
Thank you,
nurturing
ma'am.
mental health is one important thing in every student's life. Recently, I read an article, newspaper article, that a person who got All India rank one in one of the, like NEET exam, he committed suicide very recently. He got All India rank one. Like as students, we always aspire to be the number one in everything, but he has committed suicide, which speaks volumes about the importance of mental health. So thank you for so much for bringing out that point and beautifully portraying the importance of mental health in students' life as well. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Kavya,
ma'am.
please.
It definitely felt like watching a movie covering all the
Absolutely.
aspects
This
of
interview is
life.
going to be a,
A
yes, it
big
is going
part.
to be a movie. Of course, I know.
It was definitely great. Ma'am, as we actually mentioned about your mother, can you share one specific event where she stood out very different from others, like some maybe some event or some sports where it was really difficult or different for her?
I don't think if I would talk about where she really stood out, I wouldn't say any specific sports event. I think in life, the way she embraced her disability, because in 1999, when the doctors told her that you have a very huge tumor, and even if we are able to successfully operate and remove this tumor, you will never walk again. And there are two ways of dealing with that. You can either kind of give up on life at that point, or you can embrace it head on, and you can say, okay, this is my new life. uh, Earlier I used to walk, now I sit on this chair. That's just one aspect of it, but how can I make the best of this life now? So what she what she decided to do, and many people do that. You will, if you hear the stories of resilience of any of the Paralympians, the ones who won the medals, the one who did not win the medals, any para sports person's story you pick up and you see, it's the same journey of, going through those hurdles of disability and then learning to adapt and coming out victorious on the other end. I think the way in which my mother's story is unique is that adaptation in her case was so fast. I think even before she went into the surgery, she was already mentally prepared that, okay, now this is going to be my new life, and how am I going to make the most of it? And the way she has made the most of it is not just to make, not just to fulfill her own personal potential, but to make things better for everyone with a disability in this country. She has worked to ensure better, more inclusive policies. She has worked to ensure, improved accessibility. After she won the medal at the Rio Para Games, she has been a very strong advocate of bringing in more women into para sports. And then she served as the president of the Paralympic Committee of India during until about March this year. So you can see in those years how much para sports has grown in this country, how much women's participation in para sport has grown in this country. In 2016, she became the first woman to win a medal. In 2020, under her leadership, three girls won medals at Tokyo Paralympics. And now you see, you have 10 women who have won medals at the Paris Paralympics. And not just that, almost 40% of our contingent was female, which has never happened before. So I think that is her uniqueness to me, that not only has she risen, she has uh, risen other people with her. So that is, I think, the greatest mark of success, where that when you achieve a certain height, you raise other people with you and you make other people's lives better.
Thank you, ma'am. It was like quite evident that your mom has played a major role in your journey in becoming who we are today. And you also pointed out a beautiful thing that once you reach a certain level in your life, you will also help others around you. So, talking about that, in connection with that, we are going to talk about your foundation. So, let's talk about the Wheeling Happiness Foundation. You are the like co-founder of the Wheeling Happiness Foundation, which promotes disability inclusion and empowerment through sports. Can you share how the initiative started, its impact on empowering people with disabilities, and what advice you would offer students who are here in the meeting today, who are interested in creating social entrepreneurship initiatives?
See, nowadays when you go into you want to go into a social entrepreneurship initiative, there are many tools and resources that are available to you. There are short courses you can pursue to understand how social entrepreneurship works, how to establish an organization, how to run things, how to manage a team. But when we started in 2014, we really didn't know any of this. And like I said, we have an extensive army background, so nobody really in our family even knew how to do business or how to set up their own organization. But there were women with disabilities who used to observe my mother and see that, ma'am has a similar disability to us, but she is so active and she can just reach anywhere and she's so involved. So they would come up to her and ask her, ma'am, because when especially when you have a spinal cord injury, you have lots of complications. Your bladder and bowel is also not under your own control. So women used to be very curious that when you don't even know when you're going to pass stool or urine, how do you get out of the house and how do you do so many activities? So we started having women coming and staying in our house to observe how my mother goes about her life, how she has adapted, and they learned that from her. But at that time, we used to have maybe three people being helped at one time, four people being helped at one time. So we thought that if we convert this into an organization, maybe we'll be able to scale up and help more people. But and just with that idea, we set up the foundation in 2014, and very quickly our initiative gained recognition in 2015. It was recognized by the Queen of England, the then Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, and we were awarded in the Buckingham Palace. followed by and the reason why these recognitions matter is that when especially when a small NGO gets this kind of recognition and approval, it becomes easier for us to approach potential funders and sponsors, uh, because it is only through funds and sponsorships and donations that we are able to carry out the work that we do. So today, we are at a point where I'm able to donate at least 20 wheelchairs every month through my foundation. We support athletes at the grassroots level because there are many now policies have become very amazing, and all the sports policies especially have become the same as able-bodied sports. There is no discrimination there anymore. But what happens is that in order to avail those cash awards, in order to avail the benefits of those policies, you have to be at least a national level medalist. But uh, who will come and help that person who just has a thought that, oh, I don't have a leg, maybe I can do something in parasport? Because even if somebody is sponsoring you, even if somebody, if a brand is associating with you, they want to see some results, right? So who supports somebody when they are just starting out, when you don't even know if this person actually has the potential? So that is the gap that we try to fill. We support people at the extreme grassroots when they are just starting out, because once somebody wins a state level medal or a national level medal, then you get many more people who come in and support them. So we focus our support and attention on those people who are completely at the grassroots, or young people who want to pursue their education. They have good results, but the universities where they are getting admissions are not accessible. So then we have to sponsor their education at private universities which are accessible for people with disabilities. So these are the various things that we do through the foundation. And one of the events that we have been doing year on year, now we will be having a third edition this year, is the National Para Kabaddi tournament. So because kabaddi is not a Paralympic sport, but it is a sport which is very close to Indian people's hearts, especially in rural India. So we undertook this initiative of starting the kabaddi tournament for para athletes, and this year we will be doing our third edition. Last year we had 9 states teams, and this year we are hoping to have 14 to 16 states teams. So yeah, there are these small initiatives that we are doing, and even if one life is impacted, like just today, one of our beneficiaries, we have also collaborated with Hyundai. Hyundai is doing a very large scale initiative in India called Samarth, and our foundation is one of the many organizations that is associated with them. And through this initiative, for the last 1 year, we have been supporting 6 para athletes. 3 of those para athletes were at the Paralympics in Paris. And just today, one of them has posted a very heartfelt message of thanks and acknowledgement. So when we get these messages that somebody's life was touched by this organization and it made a difference, I think that is the most rewarding moment for us.
Sure, ma'am. Absolutely. After listening to this answer, I just have one thing to say. Thank you. Thank you so much for letting up every people who are differently able and want to achieve something in their life. And I just want to correct one thing that you said. After listening to all the achievements that Beating Happiness Foundation has achieved, calling it a small NGO would be an understatement. So
We are
it is in
very
fact
small in scale right now, but I
influence,
actually
yes.
like it that way, because I can tell you each of my beneficiaries names, I can tell you each of their life stories, and I really love that we have that personal connection with them. Even 3 years after we have supported them, or 5 years after we have supported them, we know what they are doing in their lives. So that's a very good feeling.
I hope
Absolutely,
this
ma'am.
event, many more people will connect to you and bring more people who work towards this cause.
Yes, yes.
Talking about women's, I'll also like to ask that how difficult it is for women athletes to navigate through social barriers.
See, one of the barriers that we used to face initially when people, especially women with disabilities, wanted to take up para sports in particular, was that their families and their caregivers used to be very afraid, because already being a woman, it comes with so many challenges in terms of the social barriers and the safety barriers. I always make this comment that especially like in colleges and hostels, when we live in hostels, we used to always have a cutoff time. We were supposed to be back at the hostel at 7:30. That was not so for the boys. Maybe they had a cutoff time, but that cutoff time was 9:30 or 10 p.m. And I always made the point that if society feels that I am unsafe because of the men out there, then put that cutoff time for the men, so that when I go out on the streets after 7:30, they won't be there on the streets, right? And that's not to say that all men should be locked up in their houses, but what I'm trying to say is that we have to change that perspective. Instead of covering our women and protecting them and keeping them at home as if we are keeping some gold in a tijori, instead of that we have to raise our sons better. We as a society, we have to raise our men better, our boys better, and teach them from a very young age what it means to interact in a healthy manner with the opposite sex. So that aside, in addition to that concern of safety, on top of that you have a double stigma because it's a girl, and it's a girl with disability. So the parents used to be very afraid. But now, like I said, when my mother won the first medal 8 years back, and the kind of exponential growth of women's participation that has happened since then, now if we go and tell a parent that, give your child a chance, let them explore sports, they have much more confidence because they have seen examples of other women who have succeeded, who have taken up sports in spite of their disability, or in fact because of their disability. In our world, that disability is an asset to them because they are competing in disability sport. So that is why representation matters so much. Because until unless you are able to see that, oh, someone like me is doing this, someone sitting on a wheelchair is throwing a shot put, but or somebody who does not have a leg is doing a high jump. Unless you see that, and especially women, if they don't see other women who look like themselves doing that, how are they supposed to follow? Because in order to follow, you need to have an example first. So I think that is the biggest change that has happened, and that is the biggest barrier we used to face earlier. And now people are more than happy because now they know that so much dignity comes with sports, so much independence comes with sports, even financial independence comes with sports because there are such amazing policies for cash rewards and things like that. Um so yeah, that's one barrier I would say, and the other barrier, of course, is accessibility itself. We have so many challenges in the public transport accessibility, or the accessibility of our roads, or even the accessibility and inclusion within the mindsets of people. But slowly that's changing, and I don't like to be very negative about it because any change in society is always incremental. Change always happens over a period of time. So I look at it as a snapshot of the last 20 years because I have been in this ecosystem for the last 20 years. What it was like 20 years ago and what it is today is a remarkable change. It's a remarkable change in how much better we are in terms of accessibility and inclusion. And if people like us, continue this advocacy and continue this pledge for inclusion in our country, things will only keep getting better. And one more thing I want to say is that it is not only the responsibility of a disabled person to say, give me access or give me inclusion. Whether you have a disability or not, this is a human right, and everybody should stand for it. Because disability is one such minority which is so dynamic. Fortunately or unfortunately, anybody at any point in their life can face a disability. Tomorrow, if you have a fracture, you can be temporarily disabled for 3 months. And during that time, how do you get from one place to the other? How if your apartment building does not have an elevator, how do you get home? So disability is something either yourself or your family members, if they are elderly, or your friends. you will, one in every seven people in this world lives with a disability, so you will definitely encounter someone with a disability in your lifetime. And I think that is why I am so passionate about it, and that's why I feel like everybody should be passionate about it. If you are at university, you should look around yourself and ask, uh, what kind of campus do I have? Tomorrow, if a student on a wheelchair wants to take admission in my university, uh, is this campus accessible for them? Can they actually sit in the same classroom as me and get education? Can they reach this classroom? Are there ramps here? Is the hostel facility accessible? As you know, citizens of the country, along with rights, we also have duties. So it's our duty to look around us and ask these questions, that every facility that is being provided to us, is it actually accessible to everyone with all needs? Sorry, I get very passionate about this.
Of course, ma'am. Of course, like it is so contagious. Kindness is contagious that we also start thinking in that way. I mean, yes, ma'am. Whatever you said is absolutely true. And about the hostel timings for boys, I could say one thing about that. When I joined my college for undergraduate degree, it was in 2020. Back then, what you said was absolutely true. Girls used to like they used to have this curfew that they have to enter the hostel within 8:30, and boys can roam around till whatever time they want. But by this year, and I mean, I graduated. I was talking to my juniors the other day. They said they also have curfew for boys now, 9 p.m. So I believe it is gradually changing or something. I don't know. I'm so fortunate that I passed out like before that. But yeah, whatever you said is absolutely true, ma'am. And I'm so glad that the society is now has now come up with a beautiful term called differently abled rather than disabled, which used to be called earlier. So yes, so the changes are keep on coming, and hopefully one day everyone will be able to have same access to all the resources that the normal people also have. Absolutely. Now we'll talk about your exposure in the global stage or in the international stage. Uh, you've represented India on international platforms and interacted with athletes from around the world. What are some practices or lessons you have learned from other countries that could help us in supporting and empowering women athletes here in India? We always say India first, India is the best, but deep down we also know that there are few standards which are better in the other countries that is not being implemented in India. So, do you feel like there are certain things that India can take up from a few other countries that can, bring about a positive change in India here?
So, if you talk about specifically about women athletes, anywhere you go in the world, you will still note this discrepancy, that there is a difference between the way women athletes are viewed versus the way their male counterparts are viewed. But here again, I would say we have to look at the positive aspect of it and see what changes are being done. Recently, so many leagues in different sports have announced equal pay for women, and that has also been because of a relentless fight that people have put up. By fight, I mean it is our right to demand things and make them right. If there are potholes on the roads in front of your house, you're not wrong to demand them to be fixed. So, because people have relentlessly demanded their rights, finally we are seeing the results of that. And anywhere in the world you go, of course, they judge it from their own standards. So, if I go from here to the any other Western country, I will feel, oh, this is so much better. But the people who live there, they notice the loopholes within their own system as well. So, I think we have to focus on how we can contribute to make things better in our own country. And what I find most satisfying about being able to represent my country on the international platforms, not just through sport, but also in my advocacy efforts, I have spoken at the United Nations, I have spoken in front of the prime ministers and presidents of all 54 Commonwealth countries, and made a direct appeal to them that whatever decisions you make or whatever reports that come out of your meetings, every time you have to be sensitive to the fact that any decision you take should be inclusive of all populations. Any decisions you make, you have to consider whether this is benefiting all sections of society, whether this is benefiting people with disabilities, whether this is benefiting women. And I think that is where we see the incremental change happening. And that is the only way for change to happen, is that you see what are the best practices elsewhere maybe, or what are the best practices that even we can take from here and share with the world, and to keep demanding our rights. And more importantly, when you go to a platform like the United Nations and make policy contributions at that level, then India as a member state, for example, it becomes their duty to then adopt those changes or adopt those better policies. So definitely, I feel one of the things that I notice when I go abroad is that there is a sense of respect for the professionalism. If you talk specifically about sport, and that respect for the professionalism of sport and that celebration of the achievements of sport is, I think, now we are finally coming of age in India, because I saw that celebration, I saw that respect, that the way it has been given to our Paralympians this year. The celebrations are still going on. Yesterday, like I said, three of our para athletes were on television, national television, and it's been a month and the celebrations have not stopped. So I think we are there now. We are respecting our athletes as the national heroes that they are, and that will only give them more energy and more impetus to keep improving on that path.
Absolutely, ma'am. We totally understand. Instead of adopting innovative methods from the other countries, it's better to fix the loopholes in the existing system, and it's better to always ask for their demands and fix it accordingly. So it always works on that as well. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you on that. Kavya, uh, are you ready for the next question to ma'am?
I think Kavya is facing some issue
Yes.
with connection.
No, I believe Kavya is suffering from the network connectivity or something. All right, ma'am. I'll take up the role of Kavya then. All right. So next question is about your future aspirations. Looking ahead, how would you like to be remembered in the realms of para athletics and social advocacy? What legacy do you hope to leave behind in the world, like in general?
Legacy, I would say, is just to keep making these incremental positive changes. Like I said, the way I have seen things improve in the last 10 years or the last 15 years, and the role that I feel that I have been able to contribute at the smallest scale, even if it means that out of the 10,000 lives that are shaping up positively, I had some impact to play in 10 of those lives. And when I hear from the parents of those children what that means to them, I think that is legacy. And I just my aspiration is to continue on the same path and keep making improvements in inclusion and accessibility in our country, keep making lives better for people with disabilities. And personally, I enjoy sport in all capacities, whether it's competitively or as a hobby. So down the line, even if I'm not competing in athletics, maybe I look at another sport. Uh, but the beauty of sport is that beyond competition, it is something that brings people together. The team that I practice with, the team that I spend 2 hours, 3 hours every day on the track with, they become your lifelong friends, and then you have that community. So my aspiration is basically to foster that sense of community in all spheres of life. I don't have very big goals and aspirations. My only goal and aspiration is to make as many lives better that I can, and hopefully that can be my legacy.
In my opinion, that should be the biggest aspiration one should ever dream of, man. Because all of us, as students, we have definitive aspiration that we have to become software developers, we have to become architects, we have to become engineers. But this doesn't cross our mind. So, in my opinion, this should be the most.
Like I told you,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but like I
No,
told
it's
you,
okay. No.
if you ask me, like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? I have never liked that question. I can never answer that question, because if you ask me in 2010, where do you see yourself 5 years from now, I couldn't tell you that I see myself receiving an award from the Queen of England, you know
Yes.
or even if you ask me 5 years ago from today, where do you see yourself 5 years from now, I couldn't say that I see myself holding two national records, because I had almost retired from sports at that point of time. So you never know what your future holds, but the only thing which is in your control is, um, always seek out opportunities. And when you do get opportunities, don't let them pass you by, because every new opportunity can lead you down a different path. And just because today you thought that, oh, I have made a goal that 5 years later I want to be mid management level in some XYZ company, if a different opportunity is presenting itself, don't let it go just because it doesn't align with what you think you want right now. Because life is just full of surprises. And I think whatever you do, as long as you are doing it with passion, as long as you are doing it diligently, it doesn't matter if when I was 12 years old I thought I wanted to become a microbiologist. So today if I have not become a microbiologist doesn't mean that I have failed in life. I have taken up whatever opportunities life has brought to me, and I have tried to excel in that space.
Absolutely, ma'am. I'm sorry to sound like a HR manager. Where do you see yourself in like the next 5 years? But yeah, that's a really good answer, ma'am. Even I wanted to be a pilot when I was three, four, but destiny had
You
different
are
plans.
you are an IIT pass out now.
No, no, I passed out in a different university. I'm still like, pursuing this degree in IIT. Hopefully, I'll be a pass out. Thank you for your sweet words. Let's see, ma'am. So, I'm personally intrigued by the different roles that you are donning. You're a co-founder, you're a parathlete, and you also give counseling. So, how do you manage time? I mean, pursuing a single degree is, I hope you understand. It's really hard. It's really hard. But donning three different diverse roles, it should be quite hard for you. So, how do you manage
So
your time?
actually,
That would be the number one question.
if you ask my mother this question, she would tell you that I don't manage my time very well, because I only wear three hats. She wears 10 hats, and she is the master of multitasking. And I think if I can even do 10% of the way she does multitasking and the way she manages things, that would be a big thing for me. But I think my personal strategy of doing things is to kind of break my day up into parts, and as much as possible focus on one task at a time, complete that task, and then move on to the next one. There are people who can do four things at the same time. Sometimes I have to, because that is what the job demands. But if you ask me personally what method I prefer, I like to, pick up a task, complete it, and then move on to the next task. Because then I can, you must have heard of this term called deep work. If you can,
Mhm.
focus all your attention on one task, complete it, and then move on to the next, for me that is fulfilling. So yeah, that's how I try to do things. But those typical mantras of, like, wake up at 5 a.m. every morning, and go to sleep at 9 p.m. every night, like early to bed, early to rise, or whatever we hear in these business quotes, that doesn't necessarily work for everyone. Everyone has a diverse way of working. I am not necessarily an early riser. If I have the option, if I have to train, then of course. But even when I'm training, I feel like I train better in the evenings, because when I go and train at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm half asleep, because it's not in my nature to be an early riser, and that's fine. Everybody, works differently. You just need to figure out your pattern and your method. And then when you are putting in the work, if you don't want to do a 5 to 9, don't do a 5 to 9, do a 12 to 8. But when you are putting in that time, be honest towards it, be passionate towards it, and do it to the best of your capacity.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I'm so happy that at least we have one thing in common, that we are not early risers. So yeah, so that is one thing in common for all of the students, I believe, in the meet. Next time my mom says something that I'm waking up late or something, I'll just hit her back with this quote: "I'm not a 5 to 9 person. I'm a 12 to 8 person." So I think that should work. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this. And yes, so that's it. The questions from the host, myself and Kavya. Thank you so much for patiently answering all our questions. And while we were asking questions and while you were answering, a lot of people were trying to ask questions by raising their hands. Guys, I understand you guys are like very eager to interact with ma'am. Now is the time for that. So if anyone wants to ask any kind of questions, please raise your hand and let us know that you want to interact with ma'am. Maybe we can have some 3 4 questions. We don't want to disturb ma'am a lot also. So we'll see. Yes, ma'am. Yes. People who would like to ask any questions, please raise your hand and let us know. Or did we ask all your questions from our end itself?
I think we covered a lot of ground.
Yes, ma'am. Of course we did. Of course we did. I'm hoping people are still mesmerized with all your achievements and all your roles that you're
Oh,
doing.
so you're saying everyone is speechless. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
It
Yeah,
was
it was
indeed a
always
great
a great
session,
session.
ma'am.
Yes, it indeed was. At least, guys, you can also give feedback to ma'am. Probably you want to thank ma'am for her time and all the knowledge that she imparted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or if
I
there's
think
anything awesome that you are doing that you want to share.
yes. I mean, ma'am, Tusha is eager to ask a question, I believe. Tusha, you can unmute and talk to ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am, for coming and giving us some such insights. We are so thankful. So, one question that, of course, Rahul has covered all the things, but I wanted to ask a question that what is the common misconception about para athletes that you yourself always wanted to debunk or want to debunk in the future?
I think that misconception has changed now with especially the Paris Paralympics and our absolutely great performance at the Paris Paralympics. But for a long time, one of the misconceptions was that because these are disabled sports, they are not very competitive. That's not true at all, because even in same as Olympics, even in Paralympics, we have 170 to 190 countries that come and participate. And if you see the timings, if you see the performance levels in a lot of the disciplines, uh, people with disabilities, the the records that we have, or the race timings that we have, or the in the throw events, the distances that we have, they are very close to the Olympic performances. And I can't recall exactly right now, but there are even some events where the Paralympic athletes have in their events performed at better timings than the Olympic athletes. So it is that is one misconception definitely to address, that these are definitely very very elite and very very competitive and very very professional sports. Like, just as any able-bodied sports person has to spend 8 hours of their day training and take scientific training, consult a dietitian, consult a coach, consult a biomechanics trainer, it's exactly the same for Paralympics. It's exactly the same level of competition. It's exactly the same level of difficulty. That is one misconception. And the other misconception, or rather lack of awareness, is that in our sport we have medical categories, which is something very important if you ever come across anybody who is a person with disability and thinking about sport. The reason we have medical categorization in our sport is because uh, everyone deserves a level playing field. So when I compete against people, they have to be people who have a similar physical condition that I do. For example, if somebody is running a 100-meter race and they don't have a leg, their leg is cut off below the knee level. If they compete with another person whose leg is cut off above the knee level, then that person will be at a disadvantage because they have more disability in their body. So in para sports, we have our first step to becoming an international para athlete is that we have to be medically classified by an international board of doctors to say what is my category of disability, and then I compete with people who have a similar disability. So in my case, for example, the left side of my body is affected, both my arm and my leg. So when I run with other girls who have a similar condition where either the left side of their body is affected or the right side of their body is affected. When somebody with a below knee amputation is running, they are running with other people who have similarly below knee amputation. So that creates a level playing field, and that is why you will see, for example, if you saw the episode yesterday, Navdeep has also won a gold medal in javelin, and Sumit has also won a gold medal in javelin. In Olympics, there is only one javelin event for men. But in Paralympics, because Navdeep is a short statured athlete who we call dwarfs in common language, so for their category, there's a separate event. Sumit has an amputation. So for his category, there is a separate event. He will compete only with other people who have amputations. Navdeep will compete only with other people who are short statured. So that creates a level playing field. I think those are the two that I can think of right now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that
So much,
answer.
ma'am.
Yeah, Trisha, I hope that answer, basically sums up what you asked. Does anyone have
Yeah,
any
yeah,
other
definitely.
question? Yeah, thank you. You may raise your hand and let us know, and we will give you the access to the mic, and you can ask the question directly to ma'am. Come on, guys, this is a golden opportunity. Yeah, Shreyans has a question. One of the organizers. Yes, Shreyans.
Okay, ma'am. So one question I had in respect to technology. So do you actually see the potential for more inclusive technology that can help the athletes with disabilities train and compete at even higher level?
I would say when it comes to technology, I would not say just for athletes. I would say generally for people with disabilities. A lot of technology that we use very commonly today, even the keyboards. The first iteration of the keyboard was initially actually came into existence to help blind people. So that is why it is very important. If somebody is sitting on a wheelchair, but they have good knowledge of technology and they have secured the marks and cleared the tests and they are capable of working at some big firm like Google or wherever, the fact that they are sitting on a wheelchair should not stop them, right? Because it's a desk job at the end of the day. And the more, again, going back to the fact of representation, the more diversity you have in an organization, any organization working on anything, the more innovative your results are, the more innovative technology is. Because when you have a person working in that space, they bring that perspective. So that is where technology has the great capability of making the world more inclusive for people with disabilities, people with different needs. Nowadays, we have these AI glasses coming up that a visually impaired person can wear, and the glasses will narrate to them what is in front of them, read text for them. So this is the positive use of technology, and of course, there are many implications of this within sport, but I feel for everyday life, there are many innovations in technology which is making people's lives, people with disabilities lives more accessible, more inclusive, and just easier on a day-to-day level. I think the next step in this innovation and this kind of invention journey that we are on in the space of technology is to make these technologies affordable. Because right now every day I hear about some or the other innovation. Bionic arms and legs have come up. You can literally wear a bionic arm like a glove, nothing more to it. You can wear it like a glove, and it takes signals from your existing nerve endings, and it does the job of a regular hand. But as an NGO, can I donate things like that to my beneficiaries? Of course not, because as an NGO, if I decide that okay, this I will donate this one bionic arm, then for the entire rest of the year I can't help anybody else. I can only help one person. Because technology is advancing, innovations are happening, but it is not yet affordable. And I think IIT Madras is one of those places where there is a lot of innovation happening in the space of tech for people with disabilities. And they are one of the places where, along with innovation, they are also focusing on how to make this technology affordable. And this is something that I think tech companies across the globes need to focus on, because the average person who needs to use this technology, like if you take the example of India, 80% of our disabled population lives in rural areas. So for them to actually make use of this technology, it needs to be more affordable. I think that's the next step in this journey.
Yes, ma'am. As
Thank
you
you, ma'am.
mentioned,
Thank you.
IIT Madras, recently they have developed an electric standing wheelchair, basically that can move to a standing position at a flick of a button. So just I
Absolutely.
remembered. Thank you, ma'am, for
Yes,
your elaborate answer. I think Savitoj has a question. Savitoj, you
yes.
can go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. So, uh, it may be a repetitive question. I was out in this meeting for a while, for a little while. So, uh, I just wanted to ask, uh, like any artist or any, anyone working deep into their field, you also may be having some kind of mental exhaustion and the deep state of tiredness and the low state where you feel a lack of hope in some kind for a little while, even for a little while. How do you come out of that? Thank you.
I think I have two answers to this. One is my answer, where I say that access to a professional. If you can afford access to a professional, therapy is not a word for somebody who needs to have clinically proven that, oh, they are depressed or they have some personality disorder. Therapy is good for an everyday person. Once a week, if you go to a professional and you air out the things that are bothering you in your life, or the things that you need to deeply think about and solve in your life, therapy can be a great tool. But again, we talk about affordability, so that is not something that is in the reach of everybody. The other answer to this is the answer that I will steal from my mother, because my mother always says this, that hobbies are something. Sorry, don't mind my dog in the background.
No, no, it actually adds to the beauty of the scene. So no
Hobbies are
problem.
something that can really, pull you out of these dull moments that you have in your life, because you could be really great at what you do, you could be good at your job, but everybody has those moments. Like, for creative people, they say they have writer's block. That is a temporary
Exactly, ma'am.
that is a temporary phase that you do go through. So in those moments, you need to have hobbies which are not related to your profession, which are not related to your academics, something different, which will take your mind off your main source of work and let you decompress. If you like to play music, if you like to do some art, if you like to travel, anything that you can pursue as a hobby, to kind of pull you out of that dull space. I think that's really helpful. And like I said, that's something that my mother always tells everyone, because she is an avid traveler. She really likes to drive. So she pursues, these passions of hers, and it really makes her feel better and helps her to get back on track. So I'm sure it can work for all of us.
Thank you, ma'am. Really good answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope that answer, you know, expected from you, like Savitoj. And does anyone have any other questions? Uh, All right, I'll take that as a no, probably. They're still speechless, ma'am, as we discussed. But before proceeding to the conclusion note, I will just point out a few points that I personally felt based on this talk show, ma'am. The first thing that myself and Shreyans and even Kavya, we repeatedly say we are so honored to have you here. I would say 49% of that is because you are a para athlete, but 51%, the majority is because of what you do as a person. As an athlete, you're fantastic. You're a national record holder. That's fine. But as a person, you're helping others grow. You're helping others, like achieve their dreams. That's really fantastic, ma'am. I would kindly request you to keep doing what you are like already doing and be the same person as you are. And before joining the talk show today, like me, most of the others would have known about you and your mother, ma'am, of course, of all your achievements. But at the end, after this 1 hour, I'm personally also inspired inspired by your grandparent who keep still practicing yoga at this age. So I believe we should also start practicing yoga, which is an integral part of a life. It's supposed to be an integral part of everyone's life, to be honest.
Yoga or any form of exercise, basically anything that enhances your fitness.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. So thank you so much for that, ma'am. And now I'll pass on the mic to Kavya for delivering the official the conclusion note. And ma'am, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. We also have posted the link to Wheeling Happiness Foundation in the chat box. A huge shout out to the NGO by ma'am. Please do support that.
Thank you so much. You can have a look at the website. You can also have a look at Instagram. I think Instagram is the place where we have the most interactive time. So I am on there. You can find me on there. You can find my organization. Let's connect. Let's connect on Instagram. If anybody has any more things to share after this, or if you have any questions, or generally if you would like to stay connected, I think that's the one positive power of social media. It helps us to stay connected.
Absolutely, ma'am. And I'm sorry, the conclusion would be given by Shreyans, but before that, I would just like to point out that there's another feather to your cap, that this is by far officially, to the best of my knowledge, the most viewed talk show that like we have had it ever. We have had about 70 constantly till now, and it is at 63 now. And the main point that I noticed that most of the audience joined the meet and never left. They were till the
I
very end.
noticed that
So
too. I was seeing how many people stay to the end, because in now our attention span is 15 seconds with the reels. So for
of
people
course,
to stay on board for over an hour, I think I really applaud you all for still being here with us.
it is in fact lesser than 15 for engineering students. I would like to point out that. So now you are officially part of Spotify and Sundarbans Society's history. So thank you for that as well. And another record to your name. Shreyans, please take over and deliver the conclusion note.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Rahul. Wonderful host. Thank you so much. Okay, so as we come close to the end of this powerful session of Voices of Power, Women Shaping Tomorrow, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to Devika ma'am for being with us today and sharing her inspiring journey. Ma'am, I would like to say that your story of resilience, determination, and success is nothing short of extraordinary. From overcoming the challenges posed by hemiplegia to becoming a national record holder in para athletics and an international medalist, you have shown us all that what it means to be persevere and rise above obstacles. Your strength, both on and off the track, is a beacon of hope for many, especially for us as well, and especially for those who are navigating their own challenges. But your achievements don't stop there. Through the Wheeling Happiness Foundation, your work to promote disability inclusion, gender equality, and access to sports for all is transformative. And I'll actually like to present my screen and show the website right now because we have a good audience. And
Yes, yes.
let's basically just give me a
I
second.
That
must
would be great.
I must admit that the website is not very regularly updated, but we do try to keep our social media updated. But yes, on the website you can find all our information. If you know someone who would like to support us, there are details there on how you can donate to the foundation. There are details there on how you can connect with us. Connect via Instagram, connect via email. And especially if you know someone with a disability who needs any kind of assistance, if we can be of help, that will be an honor for us.
Definitely. So, guys, I think our team has pasted the link to the website here in the chat box. You can go and see there. They basically you can find about their aim, the media, basically what help has the foundation being given, their initiative. You can also support them, and about the Instagram page also. I'd like to share that.
Again, it's pretty straightforward. It's called Wheeling Happiness, so you'll find it.
Yes.
Guys, we'll also be sharing the links in the story
Yeah.
afterwards. So you can also try checking out that.
Okay, so this is the Instagram account of Wheeling Happiness. There you will go and find out about everything the foundation has been doing, and I mean that is genuinely wonderful. So I'll really urge you guys to go and check out their website and the account. You can also support them. There are links given to that here as well, and on the website as well. So it will definitely help our fellow athletes. So yeah, that was it about the website. And yeah, we're continuing here. Ma'am, you're not only a champion athlete, but also a true advocate for change, ensuring that others also have that support and opportunities to thrive just as you have. And I think today you not only inspired us with your achievements, but also reminded us of the power of sport and importance of making it accessible to everyone, regardless of their abilities. Your message of breaking barriers and celebrating abilities beyond disabilities has left us a lasting impact on all of us, as I could see in the audience. I think they were mesmerized. On behalf of the
Of
entire
course.
team, the Spotify team and the Sundarbans team, I want to thank you for taking your time and being here with us, for so generously sharing your insights and experience. Your words, I think, in true sense, have filled us with inspiration, and the belief that no challenge is too big to overcome when we are driven by passion, purpose, and the will to succeed. Now, few words to our audience as well. We hope that today's session has sparked some new perspective and inspired you to think about the role we all can play in creating a more inclusive and equitable society. This was just the second episode of Voices and Power, and I think we are very excited to continue this journey more forward. Again, a huge thank you to
And
Devika ma'am for your time, your wisdom, and for being such an extraordinary role model for all of us. And thank you for everyone who joined us today. Your participation also makes the series so meaningful. And
So since
last,
I'm not there in person to take selfies with all of you, I can suggest if everybody wants to turn on their videos and take some screenshots, I think that will be nice.
yes, that would
definitely,
be great.
you can turn on your cameras. This will be a very good moment.
Yes. And also, guys, about the social media handles and the website link, please do share it with your friends. If you share with at least
Yeah.
10 of your friends, I'll make sure that you're getting a holiday tomorrow. So please do that. Okay. Right. Let's see who is ready to turn on the cameras now. We saw Savitoj. Come on,
Nice.
Savitoj. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Others,
No,
please
no need
turn on
to
the
feel
camera.
shy, guys.
Yes. Do we have a common pose or is it just smiling? Ma'am, it's up to you to suggest, ma'am. Anything you suggest, will do. Like any kind of pose that you want us to give, or is
No,
it okay if we
anything.
just.
I think this is the most common thing we do in sport, right? The victory sign.
Yes, of course. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Are you able to get everyone on one screen?
I hope they are able to. Guys, please say
Yeah, I
someone's
have
already
taken a
clicking the video.
screenshot.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you again. Thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
ma'am.
joining.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much for your time. You.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you. It was
ma'am.
lovely
Thank you,
talking
ma'am.
to all of you. And even though this is a virtual medium, I really want to appreciate all of you for being so interactive and so engaged from beginning to end. I think when somebody comes on and speaks to you, it is really an honor, and it's really respectful to know that you are actually engaging and you're actually listening and you're actually uh, happy to be here. And that is the kind of reception that you gave me, and I hope that that is the kind of welcome and reception that you will give all of your speakers moving forward. uh, I am saying this because it doesn't always happen, so as students I really want to appreciate you for your attention, for listening actively, and for engaging. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye bye. Good night everyone.
Good
Good
night,
night,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Right, ma'am.
Good night, ma'am.